Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? Thank you for watching. And today I actually wanted to talk about two people I had met coincidentally at the same place. It's when I was food shopping. There was this one cashier, a young lady. She had to be like, I'd say mid to late 20s, and she was pregnant and like out to here, the belly. She was due relatively soon. I don't know when. And while she was going through the checkout, she leaned over a little bit because she was in a brief amount of pain. I don't know if it was from kicking or something else. I didn't ask for details, but I did kind of say, "Are you okay? Okay to be doing this?" And she was in good spirits. She handled it with grace. She just said, "No, I'm okay. It happens." And then she went back to work. And I even kind of said a little bit. I'm like, "You shouldn't be here. You should be at home working and stuff." And we didn't get into a discussion because she was working. It was slow. It wasn't even that. It's none of my business, but I was just trying to give some friendly advice. Now, sometime later, in that same grocery store, there was another man who had to be late 60s, probably close to early 70s, considerably old, and he's working too. I didn't say anything this time, but I had a similar thought where I'm thinking like, this guy should be retired. He shouldn't be here. He should either be at home relaxing or, maybe in assisted living something or, have an aide there to help him. I don't know what his home situation's like, but evidently he was healthy enough to work. And that was my overall point. And it's that we live in one of the most wealthiest countries in the world, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I don't have any statistics. And yet we have stuff like this going on. Like, there are other countries, you can Google it, look for examples where they actually have mandatory maternity leave that is supposedly free. They're able to take off and for a considerable amount of time and still get paid. Where it's a lot easier to retire because the cost of living is down, the wages that they make there are better, and there's also a lot more benefits involved because to them, a happy crew is a more productive crew, and a happier way of life leads to more longevity, lower mortality rates. Okay, I'm not trying to go into this like one country's better than the other or we're the best. It's not about that. It's about that we've seen stuff like this pitched in the past. Maybe not some of the specifics which I just outlined, but like increasing the minimum wage and canceling student debt, or getting more unions into some of the big corporations so that the employees are taken care of. How often do we hear about record-breaking profits from big corporations, and yet a lot of employees there are still struggling? How often do we hear about families with one or more children and both parents have to work as much as they can? It can't be one works just one job and while the other partner stays at home and tends to the children. Okay, sometimes they both have to work, or sometimes, they have to work multiple jobs, especially if it's like a single parent, okay? And a lot of the argument I hear, primarily from the right, also the left too, is that like, well, we can't do that, it's socialism, or how are we going to pay for that, this and that? Well, for example, the same way you paid for the tax cuts from the previous administration. I'm not trying to make this about one particular president, okay? This is, to me, is more of a bipartisan issue. And, you always hear the argument like, well, we can't afford that, we can't pay for that. And yet, corporations and the wealthy 1% are allowed to get tax breaks and stuff like that. And there's talk about more of that in the future. Why? Because we've got too many politicians catering to the big corporations. They're corrupt, plain and simple. And maybe you see it on more than one side than the other. And don't get me wrong, there are, on the other side, I've seen corporate politicians go. We've got elections coming up in November, and the simple truth is, you have an opportunity to get out and vote and make change, and that's what I'm strongly recommending. It's not just about the election in 2024. That is important too. And one of the things I recently suggested is getting involved. And the way to do that are volunteering your time, donating. You could volunteer by phone banking, by canvassing. And guess what? I'm also doing it in other states too. It's not a whole lot. It's not a tremendous effort on my part. because I have a busy, active lifestyle. It's not a question of better. It's just I got a lot going on, but I try and do what I can. Why? Because it's not just what's going on in my state. It's not just who the president is. It's some of the local officials in my area, like the governor and the senator in my state. And when there's a time to, elect, you got to seriously ask yourself, put your politics aside, and the candidate that you're focusing on, are they doing the job? Are they doing a good job? Are they really, really trying to make change? If the answer is yes, then I'd say you're on the right track. But if the answer is no, or you have doubts, then you got to look at the opposing candidate and ask yourself, what is their track record like? What do they intend to do? Are they bringing substance during debates? Or is it just a lot of, hollow promises or mudslinging and stuff like that? You really got to be honest here. I'm telling you to put your tribal feelings aside. Because I know some of you, I only vote this party no matter what. I only vote that party no matter what. What if that party isn't doing the right thing? I'm asking you to do some soul searching. And by all means, get out and vote. And most importantly, try and get involved. Because guess what? One day, I don't know, depending on who you're watching, to the men out there, you might have a wife or a daughter who could be pregnant, or has a family. And guess what? She has to work as long as she can. She can't take early maternity leave because she's struggling. Okay? You could be a woman, a single mother, for whatever reason, pregnant or having to work multiple jobs to take care of one or more of your children. Guess what? You could wake up one day and find yourself, you're pushing 70, going into 80, and guess what? You still have to work. I say that is wrong. I say there are more things that our government can do to take care of us. You got to get the right people that are willing to make those changes. Stop calling it socialism. Stop trying to make excuses. Stop trying to lean on those who say they would, but they can't because, again, I don't want to hear the excuses. I want to hear results. The only way you're going to get results is with change. And that's by voting for the right candidates. You really need to, think about who you're voting for and get involved. At the bare minimum, vote. But if you can do more, by all means. Because collectively, we can make change. And that's up to us. Okay? Yes, we do have to count on those that are in charge, that are doing the jobs. But if they're not doing the jobs, and you have the opportunity to get rid of them, vote them out. Seriously. Okay? I'm just, like I said, I'm focusing on candidates in other states, in Congress, that, will make changes as well. If they're not doing the right thing, I may not be able to vote for or against them, but I can do things to help the opposition so that they get elected, so that we can see the change. Because it's not just about me. It's not just about that pregnant woman or that, elder that I told you about. It's about all of us. We're in this together. So, really think about it, really do some soul searching, pardon the background noise, and ask yourself, what can I do to bring about change besides voting? And if you have the time, make those efforts, because in the long run, they do matter. Okay? Your vote matters. So please, I really hope you understand and try and get involved. Thank you for watching.